Hello everyone, I'm Katina Ferguson from United Healthcare Innovators and I'm here with Mr. Ronaldo Cartwright from Marijuana Bahamas. Hello there.
Hello,
How are you
Katina.
doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good.
That's
I'm good. So Mr. Cartwright, please give us a little history and tell us the purpose of Marijuana Bahamas.
All right. So, Marijuana Bahamas at first, we started out as an advocacy group. It's just me trying to get the feeling of how much persons actually agree with marijuana in the Bahamas. It just started out as a little page, a Facebook page. They said, hey, let me post this. Created the page.
Right.
From there, it grew. I think it was like 500 persons liked the page in like a month, and it was like,
Wow.
I think I'm on to something here.
Right.
And it kept on building and building as it grew. When we got to, I think, about like 2,000 likes on the page, I was like, hey, this can actually be a real thing. And so we started to bring people together, and we plotted out goals.
Right.
And visions of what we want to accomplish and see in the Bahamas as marijuana evolves all around the world.
Right.
And so our goal is right now is to decriminalize marijuana with provisions for medical. And that's our main goal. Our full goal is full legalization.
Right.
But right now we are focused on the decriminalization with provisions for medical.
Right. And how you plan about going about doing that? Decriminalizing it.
So first, we have to go about changing the stigma of marijuana in the Bahamas.
Right.
Marijuana in the Bahamas has a bad stigma, and it's mostly because of the drug environment in the Bahamas. We have a bad history of abusive drugs and drug running and all the negative ills that come from drugs.
Right.
So we want to take away the marijuana as a dangerous drug. It's classified as a dangerous drug in the United States. Right here in the Bahamas, it's classified as just Indian hemp. But
Right.
everybody collectively thinks of marijuana as a dangerous drug as a whole. And so if we can separate marijuana from other drugs such as cocaine and heroin and actually drugs that you can overdose on,
Right.
and the education of marijuana, plenty of persons don't know that you can't even overdose on marijuana. There's
Right.
no person ever to overdose or has died because direct contact of marijuana.
Right.
And so through the education of the public and through our campaigns that we put on through Facebook and Instagram and other social media, we like to inform, because like firstly inform and educate the Bahamian persons on how marijuana is beneficial. And once we do that, we are now starting to see the stigma change on marijuana in the Bahamas, and we get more and more persons who coming in, messaging the group, messaging want to be a part of the organization. From there, we carrying it into the community, and from the community, we carrying it to government.
Okay, sounds good. But you mentioned earlier legalization. Now, is that legalization of marijuana itself or medical marijuana?
So how it is we trying to right now get it decriminalized with provisions for medical. And decriminalization is a specific topic right there,
Right.
because we cannot do any experiments or anything on marijuana because it is criminalized. So there's no way we could even get real good scientific data on marijuana
Right.
once we have it criminalized. So if we decriminalize it and we put in provisions for medical, meaning that we need to figure out how we will go about regulating the industry, how much a license costs to distribute it for a dispensary, how much medical card would cost, what would consider a diagnosis to hold the medical card. So all of these things that we have to go through, but the only way we can go about regulating it is to decriminalize it. But our full goal for the marijuana Bahamas is to get full legalization. But we understand there are steps to the process, and then two, more persons are more in tune to the medical side and to the decriminalized side. So we're not, as far as the people want to go, as far as the Bahamian people want to go, that's how far we want to take it. So if we get it decriminalized and the medical get passed and then they say, hey, that's enough, we don't want no more, that's just what it is. We could only go as far as the persons or people want to go.
Right.
And that's why I tell people you don't have to be scared, because at the same time it's like, hey, if you don't believe in the full legalization, then we just stop where we go.
Right. Okay. So it's not just for medical purposes you're trying to legalize it. It's for every use there is.
Yes, because as persons, as we educate people, we even found it, even persons like me who always study and always see new posts and new things about what's happening in the marijuana field and the marijuana industry.
Right.
You have things such as textiles, so that's meaning shirts. That mean things you could use in the construction field, such as rope, things like that, where marijuana is like the strongest natural plant fiber out there. It's resistant to rot, resistant to plenty insects and different things that is going on in nature. So as you can see, it's not just the medical side we are even looking at. We're looking at the whole entire spectrum of how we can use this plant to our benefit.
Right. Okay. So tell us how you view healthcare here in the Bahamas.
All right. So I do believe that the Bahamas has a okay medical. We have an okay. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. That ain't a passing grade, but that's okay.
Well, tell me why. Why would you give it a 5 out of 10? I want to hear, have you had any personal experiences or family members or friends with our healthcare system here?
Okay, this
That's undesirable now.
yeah,
That's what we
no.
focus
So
on.
as everyone know, you have a lot of stories about how horror
Horror
PM,
stories,
yeah,
right?
horror stories about how PMH. I've been in PMH a couple of times, like in the waiting room, persons coming there, a bad service, people coming there bleeding gunshot wounds, and like I hear. I have a serious injury, but I was not self-inflicted.
Right.
But now I in like a terror zone, because you get 2 and 3 gunshot victims there, people chained up, and the hospital getting shut down, and it's scary in there sometimes. But I wouldn't blame all that on the healthcare system. That's why I say it's okay, because that's some other external things that's happening. But at the same time, we have some good doctors, and they underpaid. That's a serious thing. The doctors in the Bahamas are very underpaid, and we don't take initiative right now at preventative care. And I think that's number one. That's where I feel like the marijuana could have any benefit, because it's like you have persons out there. We suffer a lot from diabetes, a lot from diabetes, pressure. It's the preventable diseases, and we don't campaign enough to say, hey, let's get out there and let's say, hey, we could prevent a lot of these diseases with happening, heart disease and stuff. Person smoking cigarettes every day, they ain't banning that, right? And that have nicotine in the tar, all these different chemicals, and that's man-made. But you telling me you can't smoke a joint when nobody ever get cancer from that? That some proof shows that it even reduces cancer in the body, but you can't smoke that, or you can't take that type of pill or form, but you can smoke cigarettes and that's okay. So that have me thinking, even cirrhosis of the liver. My uncle, he died from cirrhosis of the liver. He had the alcohol. And so you're saying you could die from these other drugs, and they're legal. And the Bahamas don't have no problem with drinking. That's the number one thing, is the party and the drinking in the Bahamas.
Right.
But you telling me that smoking, you can go to jail for years, criminal record for years, can't travel, can't find no job, and all this stuff. So when I say the healthcare, the number one thing I glad for our healthcare field is it's free for the most part. Our facilities need to upgrade, because they ain't been upgraded since Queen Elizabeth being here last. And we, let's say, plenty of persons been doing the best they could. They working dead hard to try to make sure that persons them getting cared and persons being taken care of. But it's the persons them who got the power to change stuff, like these politicians who don't go to PMH, who go to doctor's hospital. You understand? Or go foreign or wherever they need to go. So I think it's a lot of ways where we can. And talking about healthcare, and not just healthcare as in hospital, we gotta look at it as we have a lot of mental disability, like mental disorders in the Bahamas. And plenty persons will say, hey, they smoke a joint. Marijuana could cause a psychosis, right? You have marijuana-induced psychosis.
How do we prevent that?
Well, we prevent marijuana-induced psychosis by legalizing it. Believe it or not, people don't understand. Is persons who are susceptible to marijuana-induced psychosis is persons who already have pre-existing conditions, such as like psychosis, schizophrenia, The different disorders like that, I can't name them all right off the top of my head, but
Right.
have diagnoses such as those, they go pick up a joint from a drug dealer who don't mind selling it to them.
Right.
And that's the problem. They don't mind selling it to them. They go buy it from the drug dealer, go smoke it. Don't understand. Nobody understanding how the situation go. They go
Right.
smoke it, or they get laced because they put Lizethil in it. That's a bunch of foolishness. You
Right.
understand? They already had pre-existing conditions which
Right.
caused them to have marijuana-induced psychosis.
Right.
And if we take these cases more serious and stop like diagnosis them as just crazy,
Right.
we'll have better healthcare straight across the board. And it stressed me out sometimes is where places like Israel, Canada, all these different countries doing testing and scientific data on marijuana, which
Right.
where they are now finding out that reduces some growth in some cancer tumors and stuff like that. They're already making these findings now, but we slacking and we standing behind and we still saying this stuff illegal and this stuff should be illegal. We ain't even trying.
Right.
You are persons out there who need jobs, who need all of this stuff, and we need a new industry right now, because
Right.
right now it's all about tourism.
It is.
We dominate tourism. So if something was to happen to our tourism industry right now, we'd be finished.
God.
We need
Right.
something else that could hold us where we could diversify. People say they go off foreign because so much things happen in foreign.
Right.
That's because they ain't scared to make that chance to say step up and be the first ones to do it.
Right.
Who cares if the United States, the United States don't care if they make guns, right?
Right.
We don't make no guns over here.
Right.
The boys can get the guns over here, let's go shoot up each other. You think we say anything to the United States?
Right.
About, hey, stop making y'all guns and stuff like that because our boys shouldn't up each other? They say, no, they don't care. You
Right.
understand? So my thing is, when we have our marijuana industry and our people get healed and they say, oh, yeah, y'all don't go out because we don't agree with this stuff. He says, we like, hey, we doing what we need to do as a country. We's a whole different country. We have whole different ideas and agendas on our table. Y'all do what y'all gotta do. We do what we gotta do. And I
Right.
think that's where we need to align our brain.
When you speak about the United States, they legalize. There are states that are legalizing medical marijuana. Have you ever thought about going that route as opposed to trying to do it as a whole?
You mean to get a dispensary in the
Right,
United States? So
right.
so we are in touch with two dispensaries in the States. One I could speak of, that's Proper RX. Is run by the brother of Elliot Marshall. He's a Marshall too. I can't remember his first name, but his business is Proper RX.
Right.
You can check it out on Instagram or Facebook. It's run out of Oakland, California. And so plenty of persons who contact us and say, hey, you know any place where we could get marijuana from? Someone said, we have messages like that all the time, say, my mommy get cancer.
Right.
You have any type of treatment or any type of known knowledge and stuff. We said we direct them to persons like him and say, hey, if you want treatment stuff like that, you might could go you might could go to the States and get treatment from there and find out more information from an actual doctor who is in that field, and he's a Bahamian guy.
Right.
And so me personally, I love the Bahamas. I don't never plan to live in the States or live in any other
That's
country
nice.
as an extended form of time. I don't mind
Right.
traveling and stuff, but I feel like this is my home.
Right.
And I should make better where I am. That's just how I grew up. Not shutting down anybody who want to go to our next country. I just feel like everybody have to live their own life, and I feel like that's my part. It just ain't cancer. 'Cause
Right.
Cancer is still going on. The scientific study where it shows that it reduces some tumors up to like 50%. You have simple stuff like pain.
Right.
So instead of taking a painkiller, you could people even keep on saying smoke. You could ingest. You could have all type of ways to take marijuana once it's legal and once we regulate it. It'll be all type of ways you could take it in
Right.
forms that don't get you high.
Right.
You say painkillers, sleeping pills, persons who have PTSD, depression.
Right.
It's just a list of mental disorders or body disorders with is health. And I tell persons, it isn't the cure-all cure, because I ain't selling it like a snake oil. You could combine these treatments with CBD from the marijuana and maybe a treatment like chemotherapy, and you could have it in a more effective way to treat cancer and to treat other diseases. Because so sometimes it might not be just marijuana. It might be the combination of these two substances together, and you put them together and we could have high-paying jobs such as chemists and agricultural scientists and other jobs that could bring in millions of dollars to the Bahamas. Because we ain't just talking about the Bahamas. You're talking about once we find out how we can synthesize CBD and we find out more ways where we can actually distribute and have more clinical treatments to marijuana. We're talking about exporting all forms of marijuana. We could make up our own strain. We're talking about global.
Right.
global, like marijuana industry, Bahamas, that's where we known for. That's
Right.
It'd be just how we known for hotels in Atlantis and Bahamas, we'd be
Right.
known for marijuana industry. And not as a bad stigma, as in healthcare provider.
Right. So, what are the two different types of strains of marijuana, and how can they each help positively?
So the two main strains of marijuana is indica and sativa. So indica is more a fluffy marijuana cannabis plant. It's more smaller. It don't grow as tall. In the Bahamas, we have more sativa. Sativa is a more skinny, a more I'd say less potent. It isn't as potent as indica,
Right.
but it grows taller. It's a lot of different. I would say biological differences between indica and sativa.
Right.
Indica actually helps with a body height.
Right.
And so what it actually does is a more body height. That's the ones that get you sleepy. You could take that for when a person's grow that more in Canada in the cold weather.
Okay.
And you smoke that, you get a more body high, you go sleep, you feel mellow, calms you down. It's way better the form of, instead of taking Percocet and these highly addictive
Right.
pills, you
Right.
might, you stress out one day, you just need something to calm you down instead of going to the what you call it now, the psychiatrist. They
Right.
could, instead of prescribing you some opioids, they could prescribe you some natural stuff that wouldn't get you addicted. And on the next side is sativa. Sativa is that's the more funny high. When you hear people say they laughing on the weed and
Right.
stuff like that, yeah,
Right.
that's sativa there. So it gives you a more creative high. It keeps
More
you,
recreational.
yeah, more recreational. It keeps you up. It gets you thinking. That's a person who's been a deep thought. When people say, oh, when they smoke that weed, they start talking deep.
Right.
That's more that sativa. And on that side, you persons who have depression, I know this from a fact. Like, anytime you smoke like a sativa strain, it always keeps you up. You never feel depressed. Like
Right.
when you drink alcohol, plenty times you feel down after you get off the alcohol. But with sativa, it's like you feel so good in yourself. It gives you a new inspiration about life. Depressed. And in the Bahamas, we don't take these things serious. That's why you don't understand. If you actually talk to a person with depression, they understand what it is to be depressed. But persons in the Bahamas, we take it, we knock it off. It's just, oh, you're going to be okay, child. You know what I mean? Just pray to Jesus, pray to God.
Right.
But you are a person that mistakes to killing themselves every day.
Right.
Except because of depression and things like that. And if they could have something what is not addictive, what is natural, what don't harm their body, that could save a life.
But it doesn't that come from the altered state of your mental state? Doesn't that happen when you use marijuana?
What you mean?
When you become happy, isn't that because your mental state is altered?
Yeah, your mental state is altered, and that's why it's still classed as a drug.
Right.
The THC in the marijuana alters your mind, and in some persons it's different because it's different strains. So
Right.
just as a sativa, we're gonna give you that happy, classical, giddy high,
Right.
and the indica can give you that body high, that sleepy high.
Right.
It transforms the mind, and as we get more educated about the different strains and about how does marijuana work, we
Right.
could better prescribe it to a person who actually has disorders of mental health. We as Marijuana Bahamas feel like you should be over 21 to smoke. Brain hasn't fully developed
Right.
until you're 21.
Right.
And that's why in the States you can't drink until you're 21.
Right.
And over here you can drink when you're 18. but
Right.
people start drinking from a way younger age.
Right.
But we feel like you shouldn't smoke marijuana until you're 21. You should go to a doctor or physician. The dispensary should have somebody on the medical field. That's where it gets disconnected.
Right.
When you go to the doctor, you tell the doctor you have a stomach ache. He write a prescription. He say here it goes. He don't explain to you where this pill come from, what this pill could do, all the different
Right.
aspects of the pill.
Right.
But when it comes to marijuana, you can have somebody you can sit down. You can say, hey doc, I have depression. Doc can sit you down. Doctor say, oh, why do you have depression? Because he doesn't just say, oh, you have depression. Let me just give you this. No,
Right.
he can sit you down and say, hey, let's talk to you first. Why you have depression? You going through something you understand? Because
Okay.
most of the times it's bigger than just the marijuana. So once you
Yes.
understand, he say, yeah, well, he give you some advice too, and then he say, hey, well, this could help you with that, but you gotta understand too. This ain't nothing you can be addicted to. This can't solve your problem. This could help you.
Right.
You understand? And so we can have more situations like that going on. So the doctors, they could actually sit and talk, and you could understand, hey, where this plant come from, and it'll be good to know it coming from in the Bahamas as well.
Right.
And to be good to own all aspects of the marijuana industry, from the growing to the distribution to exportation.
Right.
Every part of the marijuana industry should be owned at least for 5 years, strictly owned by Bahamian people until any foreigner can get into it.
Right.
And that's how marijuana Bahamas do not want the United States to federally make marijuana legal. Then we can come after. Then
Thank you.
any foreigner can come here, open up a marijuana dispensary, and they'll take over just how it's like Atlantis marijuana.
Thank
and,
you.
and they sell it to all the tourists because we have tourists all the time, every day, asking us where to buy marijuana from. But we can't say where to buy marijuana from because
Right.
it would be illegal for us to tell them and distribute marijuana.
So how do you propose we prevent doctors from selling marijuana cards to just anyone?
So number one, they doctors, right? So they have some type of moral outlook on life because you understand, to be a doctor, they had to study hard, they had to go through life.
Right.
I mean, that's just a personal aspect. I mean, someone who's down on their luck and stuff like that, do it. Like someone like a drug dealer, more than likely he be in a jail before, he out there selling drugs. Life being tough, so he don't care who he's selling to, right? But at the end of the day, a doctor, he had to study hard. He know what he being through to get his doctor's license. So now, if you say, hey, we taking that doctor license from you, if we find out that, hey, you prescribed the wrong person, the wrong thing. And this is where I'm coming from. It's like the drug dealer, you can't go back to the drug dealer and say, hey, you gonna give my cousin who done was little off. You understand? Who done had schizophrenia. You gonna you gonna give him some marijuana. Now he you lace my cousin. You understand? That's how that's what they gonna say. So but the doctor wouldn't do that. So but if the doctor does in a bad case, if they do give a person who has a mental disability marijuana, you could lose your license. You could go to the police and you say, hey, we locking them up, we suing y'all, we closing down your shop.
Right.
And that's where the legal bounds come inside the marijuana industry, where we can take it over and we'll take it from the black market like the drug dealers, and that's how we could. It'll be a good industry when you take it out of the darkness and you put it into light.
Right.
We'll understand, because I tell people all the time, nobody in the Bahamas who want to get high don't get high. We need to figure out, hey, how we can regulate it so that stuff like that don't happen.
Right. But there is great debate, mind you, over social media about the legalization of marijuana. What would you say to those who are against it?
I'd say, what you for? That'll be always my question. It'd be like, well, if you against marijuana, right? And you want to keep it the way it is, it's cool. You understand? And it'd be like, so that means you standing for boys getting locked up in the hundreds, you understand? But for carrying a little joint, that means if you off the court, I mean, you go in the COB right now, you plain persons in the University of Bahamas smoke marijuana. You're trying to make it, you little stressed from one little test, you smoking marijuana. Occasionally, you get locked up by the police. You can't get a job because now you be in the jail because people can see that on your record.
Right.
It just stigmatizes all the young persons and persons who want to go somewhere. You telling me now you stand for persons being unemployed. Because now you gotta give that job to the drug dealer, because they still gonna sell it. No one can stop selling it. So they can still sell it. You stand up for the drug dealers selling the marijuana. Then they can use that marijuana money to buy guns, to rob and to kill and all that stuff. So you stand up for that. So my question always is, say, if you against marijuana, what you for? You standing for the alcohol? You know, I don't see you campaigning to say put out the alcohol or put out the tobacco. You understand? So what you standing for? Because the thing is too, I want to educate persons to say, hey, any person say, oh yeah, no, that ain't no true. They addicted to marijuana. And say, if you read and you educate yourself, pretty Bahamian persons wrap they blunts up in tobacco wrap, such as grabber and such as barkwood, and we still import them. And they get addicted to marijuana because they smoking it in the barkwood and in the grabber, which is nicotine, a nicotine product from tobacco. And on, they're getting addicted to the tobacco leaf. Because I have plenty friends, and I talking about, you could get them the best weed out there, and you tell them smoke it in a bong or smoke it in some hemp papers, they say it don't feel the same. Why? Because they used to smoke it in that tobacco leaf. And so because they ain't educated, we just giving away our stuff. You just want to be uneducated about the situation. You just want to keep the status quo how it is. That's just basically like saying the healthcare situation in the Bahamas. You're like, oh, you for it? You're like, yeah. So we for better in the healthcare. We for better in progressing as a people. But how? You know what I mean? How are you gonna do this?
That's true. We always have an opinion.
You saying you want things changed, but no one want to make that change. No one want to step out and be different.
How do we make this change?
Yeah, because right now they say now, oh, let's build a new hospital. Oh, y'all spending money, and we ain't got no money. Oh, they need it somewhere else. You know what I mean? It always is an argument about how we gonna do stuff. We just need to stop bickering and get some stuff done. And the thing is, it's okay to sometimes to say make mistakes. You understand? To say the system wouldn't be perfect when we have it. I sure one or two persons we gonna abuse the system in some way. But the thing is, when is once we catch them or once we find out, hey, they selling it illegally or something ain't perfect about the system, we tweak it, we better it, and that's how we progress as a person. We can't be scared to make that step and do something different.
Right. So what are the proper amounts to be sold and the list of regulations?
You have to be 21
Right.
or over to at least to smoke it, I'd say. Why is it? Is because I saw a lot of studies about the CBD oil and persons who have seizures. I didn't even mention that, but children who have seizures, they have the oil, they put it under their tongue, and it sometimes reduces the seizures up to 70, sometimes cure the seizures completely. So that's serious, you understand? So you can't say you can keep that CBD oil away from children. There's children having seizures. I have a cousin who has seizures.
Right.
And I don't know, does their parents so scared about the whole CBD because it's illegal in the Bahamas? But if you see what's happening other places in the world, they know, hey, that's safe.
Right.
You understand a person's taking CBD oil can overdose on it, can be poisoned by it. But you taking the opioid to the doctor say, hey, don't take 3 or 4, just take 1, because if you take too much, you can die. But so I just think it's very contradictive of what's going on. And so I would say 21 and over to smoke it on weed. So I would say that you could keep 1 to 2 plants in your yard and it's not being productive. They ain't out there robbing nobody's house, they ain't doing no crime. They go and they 1, 2 plants or whatever, and Ika has like 5 to 7 plants legal. So I would say you have to have a marijuana card. That card would cost somewhere around about, maybe for Bahamians, $20 a year. You don't want to make it expensive because you got to understand this stuff is medicine. License. I want every tourist who want to come over here who want to smoke marijuana, they get a license. Everyone. So you telling me every time they come in the store, they paying $10 for marijuana license. They sitting down doing the same thing what we doing every time they come over here. And that way we get tourism revenue, and we'll have to put on like a year trial of how does it grow, how much, how will it do. It's a lot of regulation will go in place. So over that year, we'll have to do extensive studies. But I think we need to give ourselves a date. When we started, we say June 1st, 2018 to June 1st, 2019, we can start. That's it. Ain't nothing gonna be perfect. Nothing gonna be perfect once we start, but we gotta start. And once we start, we make tweaks to the system as we go.
Right.
And that's it.
Right. So what is the process in regards to licensing and distribution of medical grade?
That's strictly Bahamian, 100% Bahamian. That's where it goes to people. That's where it gives us a head start, because people don't know, we don't have a lot of money as Bahamians as a collective, right? So foreigners who's a billionaire who live in Live Key can see what's happening easy in the Bahamas and say, hey, I put my money, they get more money than all the people in the Bahamas. So, and they could run games ahead of us. So if we say we give us a chance to get some money first, build up ourselves, make ourselves Bahamian millionaires and billionaires, and then we say, hey, yeah, now we can open up to foreign tourists, because we want to be open up and give ourselves more competition to grow ourselves. But give us some time to get there. You understand? We just get out of crutches. You understand? Give us some training time, and then we can run the race. That's how I feel. And I want Bahamians to own all avenues of marijuana distribution. All marijuana sales in the Bahamas should be grown in the Bahamas. So whether that be, the thing is, we have so much islands. We can make it sure we can say, hey, you only grow on farms in Andros. Number one, that boosting Andros economy crazy percent. You understand? So you say you grow on in Andros, the MP of Andros should hear us and be like, you should only grow in Andros, you understand? So all the money go to my people who inside my constituency. And you can say they grow in Andros, but they can sell in Nassau, the distribution of how it works. A lot of research can have to go into however we implement it. And I personally, education and the study. And the more knowledge we get is the more power we get.
I mean, yes. So what are the list of regulations to farmers and distributors of this substance?
It's the farming aspect. Once we keep, you just have to keep record on who's selling. You understand? Where ODMP is in only because you say Bahamians, but then you have so privileged Bahamians, who will take advantage of it, because then they'll set it with a number where us as regular Bahamians can't reach. So I think they need to make it accessible to all Bahamians, and don't put a number on the license, because that is make it like a monopoly. Once you put a number on the license, and that is lack competition too. So you put it out there, you put it to a number where, hey, most Bahamians can reach, whether it be 50,000. I think that's a number where if you save enough or you get enough people, you could
Right.
get out there and actually start a business or get the license. Not no $1 million or how much ever. So you have to put high penalties to say, hey, yeah, you just not only you losing your license, but yeah, you're gonna get locked for life. You're gonna get locked up, all the different types of stuff. So we serious about this. We want to make sure that, hey, we don't want to put a bad stigma
Right.
on what we're trying to make a good thing.
Well, considering our economy's state right now, our economical state,
Yeah.
what are the profit margins expected to be within the first 5 years through farming and distribution?
Man, I really should look at this number. But the number somewhere around, the number, you can look it up in the statistics, Bahamas statistics, is I think $17 million seized last year in marijuana, right? So if you're thinking, that's what's happening, $17 million seized in marijuana, last year. Everybody who wanted to get high, still get high. Sales, you're talking about probably sales of somewhere upward of 10, or like not to say $100 million. You're saying 7% of that. If you just put in the VAT on that, you say that's $7 million there.
Right.
You could build any school you want.
I love how you mentioned the VAT.
Yeah, no, because you're gonna put they're gonna put VAT on top of whatever tax they
Right.
invent. You understand
Yes.
for marijuana,
Right.
and that's just the sale of the medical slash. When I say medical, I mean to say like edibles or any ingestible or any smokable product. We ain't talking
Right.
about the stalk, the leaves. Now you're saying farmers are almost giving this stuff away because they're
Right.
selling us pennies because they don't really need it. They don't make their money.
Right.
They're giving away pennies on the dollar because this was happening in other countries, and they make hemp clothing. They could we'll be manufacturing hub for all type of different materials. Whether it be we have we're one of the biggest boat registries in the world.
Right.
You understand? So we have a bunch of boats traveling through the Bahamas. We could say, hey, we get rope to sell. You understand? It's a lot of negativity to fight and
Right.
a lot of money coming against it because the tobacco industry don't want that because marijuana
Right.
ain't addictive. So now they spend millions of dollars researching how we can clean up nicotine and cigarette because we had all this icy cool and vents and these vapes and all that different.
Right.
They spend a lot of money doing this stuff. So they
Right.
don't want to cancel all the research to now do with marijuana. They're trying to keep where they at.
Right.
And
That's competition.
it's competition, and it's competition that they don't want,
Right.
and so they can stay out, whether it be alcohol or whatever. Because they ain't thinking about it like that. They against us, and the thing is, the drug dealers are against my movement, believe it or not, because they say
Yes,
they take.
of course.
I think it's in McDonald's. In McDonald's, and the vice said, "Use marijuana Bahamas," and he said, "You trying to put me out of a job?" And it's like. Bro, you know what I mean? I try
Right.
to help people, you know what I mean? You
Right.
won't try to help me because I try
Right.
to sell this to anyone possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? And y'all, they think it's a joke, but it's serious. We putting the drug dealers out of business because we want to give it to tax-paying, moral Bahamians who
Indeed.
looking out for the best of the Bahamians, for Bahamians.
Right.
But they don't care, you
No,
understand?
of course not. They worry about their bottom line.
Yeah, so
You know?
So that's it.
Right. So you think that this can create a new form of tourism?
Yeah, because if you, I think we playing this don't how the saying go? It's don't ask, don't tell
Yeah.
type of situation. Because
Yeah.
tourists every day buy weed in the Bahamas.
I know.
Every day, the taxi drivers that sell it to them, the hotel workers that sell it to them. So let's stop playing games. You say,
Right.
that's my whole thing. Let's stop playing games like we don't know what's going on.
Right.
You understand? We know what's going on, and that don't stop, and that's never gonna stop because wherever is a demand, it can be a supply.
Right.
So that ain't never gonna stop. You understand?
Right.
And if we look at that, we say, hey, that really have plenty benefit to it, and
Right.
it don't have much harm. So why not legalize it? So
Why
that's the
not?
thing. So because I have people messages in our page every day, tourist message page, that we can find some weed
Wow.
from, where we can get it from. But we gotta say, hey, we in our law we say marijuana. The only thing we could say is marijuana is everywhere in the Bahamas, and that's
Right.
the truth. We don't know where to get it from.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can't ask us, but you could ask anybody else.
Right.
That's all we could say. Because we gotta be in the legal bounds to make sure, hey, we stay out of trouble, we stay out of police hands.
Right. So how much influence do you think the Christian Council should have on the subject?
Alright, I think the Christian Council should have a lot of say in the subject. People think we are against. We stand for something. That's how I believe. Like Jesus stood for something. When he came with a mission.
Thank
So
you.
my thing is, when you keep on standing like against something, you
Right.
bring in negativity and you bring in down. What you standing for? So if you say the Christian Council say, hey, they could actually take control of this whole movement, and they could be a more serious impact to the
Right.
Bahamian people if they for it. This is what I'm saying, and young people would even look at them and say, hey, maybe I want to be a Christian now too, because now
Right.
they being serious about something. They ain't stop
Right.
every time something. Why so many people I feel young people don't like the Christian Council is because it's like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. Be like, what to do?
Right.
What you want me to do?
There are some things that they allow that I don't agree with also.
Yeah.
So
But that's what as a young person, that's a lot like what I hear, and I know what other people that person hear all the time. Like I don't agree with plenty of stuff maybe what they agree with or whatever, but I still feel like, hey, you should have the right. As Jesus give if God give us freedom of choice,
Right.
why are you taking that choice away, especially when that don't hurt nobody?
Right.
You understand? So
Indeed.
I talked to, I think it's, I don't want to call his name wrong, Simeon Hall. That was the old Christian Council leader. Yeah, and he was believe it or not, I thought he was gonna be a gangster. That's what you're gonna say, but he was like, I think we should look more into it. And he's the old. I don't know who is the leader now.
Right.
But we did reach out to him. We didn't get no response. It's marijuana, so
Right.
we expect that.
well, thank you very much, Mr. Cartwright.
Thank you
Nice having
so much.
you.
Yeah,
Nice
it's been
meeting
a pleasure
you.
being here.
Okay, all right.